Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh God, there were the bowls, the ones we'd been eating out of. But the meat, it wasn't beef or pork, it was him. And the rice? Maggots, crawling in his flesh. He'd have to have been dead for days. Hello everybody, I'm TheRubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation KETER Class Object SCP-953. SCP-953, also known as the Polymorphic Humanoid, is a female red fox with 9 tails. It displays polymorphic properties and enjoys taking the form of various other objects and beings, most commonly an attractive Korean female. The one weakness to its transformations is that it keeps at least one part of its true form when in human form. This allows it to be easily spotted in a group just by searching for the one person with fox features, whether it is a tail, ears, paws, or something else. However, it will use clothing to try and hide these features. In addition to polymorphic abilities, 953 displays moderate-level psionic abilities, namely suggestion and telepathy. Although insufficient to fool an outside observer, a deceived victim can be convinced of a variety of false facts, including the nature of 953, its own nature, and the nature of things around it. 953 has used this in the past to deceive a police officer into believing there was no screaming coming from a hotel room where she was staying, convince a mother to roast and eat her own child, and also performing a disgusting necrophiliac acts towards the fiancé of Agent Ramsey. SCP-953 has been encountered by the SCP Foundation numerous times, with the first encounter having taken place in Busan, Korea, shortly after the Second World War. To date, 953 has escaped and been recovered 6 times, resulting in the deaths of many SCP agents during various incidents. After its latest escape, 953 was not heard from for over a few years, until suddenly resurfacing in Pennsylvania at YIFCON, which it had been attending in the guise of a Fury enthusiast. Before being captured, 953 carried out over an estimated 27 murders of convention staffs and attendees, more than any other single incident to date. The mutilated bodies were found in various places throughout the hotel, including inside a mattress, hanging from a shower curtain, and served as the main course at a hotel banquet. Surviving attendees were administered Class A amnestics and released from Foundation custody. Foundation personnel assigned to capture 953 after this latest incident noted that the subject appeared listless and apathetic and did not resist capture. No further casualties have resulted from 953 from that date. SCP-953 is to be kept in a 4 by 3 by 3 meter containment cell at the end of hallway 99 at Site 17. 953 is to be provided with 1.5 kilograms of fresh liver daily for consumption, clean drinking water in plentiful quantities, clean beddings to be exchanged by 953 and laundered weekly. Small luxury items like plum wine and reading materials may be provided as an occasional reward for good behavior as part of psychological conditioning. Direct human contact with SCP-953 is strictly forbidden due to SCP-953's mind-altering properties. For this reason, all personnel must stay outside the 100-meter safety zone when the sealed door is opened. Delivery of food and other items will be carried out by an automated robotic assistant. If containment fails, 953 can be theoretically terminated by gunfire. However, due to its nature, recognizing 953 may be difficult. Because of the inadequacy of purely physical containment procedures to control SCP-953, psychological containment is also necessary. For this reason, the approach to SCP-953's containment chamber is to be lined with open-cage dog kennels, preferably of the Korean Jindo, or American Foxhound breed. 953 displays an extreme phobia of domesticated canines and will not pass within 10 meters of one, especially when canines are barking or alerted. She also hates it and tends to get agitated when she's referred to as kitsune, the Japanese word for fox, instead of a kumiho, which is instead a Korean nine-tailed fox. 953 is to be considered hostile to human life, dangerous, and armed at all times. any transport must be done under the supervision of at least 6 armed personnel. Its preferred killing method is a barehanded strike to the abdomen, penetrating the abdominal cavity and removing the liver, which it will later consume. If given time, however, it will choose to linger over its kill, torturing its victim, as it seems to enjoy the infliction of pain upon another sentient being. One of 953's most disgusting acts was when a Japanese agent, probably better known as Agent 3, and his 2 other teammates, hereby known as Agent 1 and Agent 2, were sent out to capture 953. Agent 3 was the only survivor of the incident, during which he accomplished the task of capturing 953 alive. The following is a transcript of the after-action debriefing that took place following SCP-953's securement. We got on site and went to the morgue, looked at the bodies. I used the cover story of a reporter investigating the crimes, told them Agent 1 and Agent 2 were my photographer and assistant. Turns out they were thinking that it was a wild animal, based on the nature of the wounds and a little old lady's account. The old lady saw 953 eating her cow when she went out into the rice field. Then we saw this girl sitting under a waterfall, combing out her hair. She had this thin robe on. We knew it had to be 953 because of her feet. She was trying to hide them, but she wasn't doing it right. Agent 1 and Agent 2 smiled. Even I thought we had the edge on her. Oh God, we were stupid. She knew we were after her. She knew we knew what she was. She pretended to let her guard down just enough so that we could feel smug in our overconfidence. She told us that she had a cottage nearby, offered to serve us dinner, introduce us to the others. Agent 1 and Agent 2 thought we should go with her, said there was a chance there might be other victims. She took us to this cottage, a pretty little place, old and rustic, but really homey. She took us inside, served us dinner. Agent 1 calls her a perfect wife, demure, kind, sweet, and respectful. She served us rice and pickled turnips and some kind of meat. Then we went to bed feeling sleepy and tired. In the middle of the night, I woke up and saw that Agent 1 wasn't there. Figured he'd gone to take a pee or something, so I decided to go for one myself. I went behind a bush and saw, well, she was there with Agent 1, and they were kissing. Suddenly, she bit his tongue off, all of it, and then she spit it out and showed it to him, just so that he could see it happening. Agent 1 tried to scream, but she'd torn his throat out with her teeth. Then she stabbed her hand into his belly. Agent 1 was gurgling and trying to push her off. He was bleeding all over the place, but she just pushed him to the ground and started working her fingers in his belly, reached in deep and pulled his liver out like she was gutting a fish and swallowed it whole. Then she started peeling his skin off like an orange or something. I didn't stop to watch. I ran back to the room, shook Agent 2 awake, told him we needed to get going. I went for our weapons, grabbed my .45, and then Agent 1 walked in asking what was wrong. So I shot him. He was dead. His eyes were glowing yellow. What the hell kind of human being has glowing yellow eyes? Agent 2 grabbed his gun and pointed it at me. He started yelling at me to put the gun down. And that's when 953 grabbed him from behind, and the gun went off. He shot me in the upper shoulder. I fell down screaming, and I heard a loud cackling laugh. I crawled into the living room where we'd had dinner earlier that night and tried to slam the door shut. Rice paper screen not going to help, but I needed something between us. There I saw a man laid out where the dining table had been. His eyes were wide open, and his skin was flayed open. Oh God, there were the bowls, the ones we'd been eating out of. But the meat, it wasn't beef or pork, it was him. And the rice? Maggots, crawling in his flesh. He'd have to have been dead for days, But how? We'd seen him at the base of the mountain just yesterday. I threw up. Some of them were still alive, crawling in my vomit. I stabbed her in her gut with a punji stick, which slowed her down a bit. And then I dragged myself across the river. Couldn't swim, hit my head on the rocks, went downstream at least half a mile through the rapids. I got to the van, broke a window, and grabbed a flamethrower. I flicked on the sparker, managed to get it around just as she came out of the tree line. And that was when the retrieval team found me with 953. They took her away and got me to a hospital. I had a raging infection for days. Remember to check out my new animation channel, TheRubber Talks, where I share my life story, thoughts, and opinions. Just click on the link in the description to enter the Rubber's world. Before we end this video, we are proud to present these incredibly sweet pieces of fan art. A big thank you to all of you. You can now send us your fan art, and we will be more than happy to show off your best art piece in our next video. Check out our description below on how to submit. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Which SCP do you want to see in the next video and why it is interesting? Let us know in the comment below. We will draw your story and share it with the world. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Please share it to your friends if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.